Rockets, Miss Knot here. You already know how to sort and categorize groups of objects. So now it's time to start comparing those groups. Today we'll do this using materials that you might find in nature or in your house, and we'll do this by making a graph. I'll show you what this will look like. First, using some natural materials that I collected on my block while out on a walk. Some leaves and petals, materials that came off of plants. I started by finding a place on my deck that had horizontal lines. So the lines on my deck are actually going to serve as the lines of my graph. You could also draw this on paper, draw this on chalk if you're outside, draw this with chalk. I'm going to use the lines that are already here for my deck to make my graph. I'll show you what I mean. Here, I've categorized my objects or sorted them by color. Now I'm going to start lining them up into my graph. I'll put one yellow leaf in each of the lines, the horizontal lines of my deck, each row. 4, 5, and 6. So I've made sure to put just one leaf in each row. And I started at the very bottom. This will help, once we start putting the other objects in, this will help us compare. We'll be able to compare just by looking at our graph. I'm going to add the pink petals, one in each row. And it keeps them in a straight line. All right, we can already start comparing the number of objects that we collected. You might notice which column is taller. And if you do, you'll know which object has more. Did we find more yellow leaves or more pink petals? Let's add our other objects to the graph. Put our brown leaves here next to the pink petals. One in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll add in our green leaves beside the brown leaves. 1, 2, and last, our red leaves. 1, 2, 3. Now let's back up and take a look at our graph. You'll see that I've lined the objects up, one in each row, all beside each other. Now looking at our graph, we can see which objects have the most and the least. So which object did we find the most of? Let's look. Which one is the tallest? Yeah, we found the most yellow leaves. We found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do you see another one that looks almost as tall? Yeah, the brown leaves. They have the second most. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 brown leaves. Which one is the shortest? Yeah, the green leaves. That's the shortest one. We found the fewest green leaves. 1, 2. What about the pink petals and the red leaves? They're the same height. That means we found the same number of objects in each of those groups. Let's count to be sure. 1, 2, 3 red leaves. 1, 2, 3 pink petals. We found the most yellow leaves, the fewest green leaves. Oh, our wind's blowing our yellow leaves away. And we found the same amount or equal amounts of pink petals and red leaves. Let's try this again with some different objects. All right, Rockets, for this next graph, I had to move to my kitchen table because this time I'm graphing my snack. Let me show you. Today I'm having trail mix for a snack. I already sorted and lined up my items, as you can see here. Notice how I put one item from each group in each row. That way, when we look at our graph, we'll see which one's the tallest, and we'll know which group has the most objects in it. Which one of our groups here is the tallest? Is it the almonds, the raisins, the peanuts, or the M&Ms? Yeah, the tallest one is the peanuts. And since we lined up one item in each row, we know that the tallest group has the most objects in it. So we have the most peanuts here. Let's count to see how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 peanuts. Which group is the shortest? Yeah, the M&Ms. How many M&Ms are there? Just 2, we can tell by looking. Now let's compare the M&Ms to the raisins. Are there more raisins or M&Ms? Which one has more? Yeah, there are more raisins. This column is taller. So just by looking at our graph, we knew that there were more raisins. We could continue comparing our groups, our almonds to our peanuts, our M&Ms to our almonds. We could compare each of them to decide which group has more or fewer. But I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna eat my snack. When I'm done, I'll show you how to do this with one more type of object. All right, Rockets, for this last one, I'm gonna use some toys. Small toys like Legos, Unipix cubes, any sort of small building materials or patterning materials would be great for making graphs. And along with my toys, I also made a graph on paper here. And grown-ups, if your child is having trouble keeping the objects in straight rows across without a graph, this can really help. I've also added the numbers here. So just by looking at our bar graph, we'll know how many objects are in each set. All right, let me show you the toys that I'm going to use. All right, here are the toys that I'm going to use, and you'll notice that I've already sorted them by type or color. Each type or each picture is a different color here to begin with. So now I'm going to start adding them to my graph. All right. So I'll add the blue stars first. I'm going to put 1 in each row, just like we've done before. It's a little easier this time with my graph. Then I'll add in the yellow ducks. And you'll notice that when we're putting our objects in the graph this time, we can look straight across to see how many objects there are. We know that there are 4 ducks. We always start filling in our graph at the bottom and work our way up. Let's do our turtle next. And our orange butterflies. All right. Now that the objects are in the graph, we can start comparing. Which one has the fewest? Which set or group of objects is the smallest, the shortest? Yeah, it's the turtle. There's only 1 turtle. See, when I filled in the turtles on this graph, started at the bottom, it only took up 1 row. Which one's the tallest? Yeah, I'm noticing there are 2 that are the tallest. The yellow ducks and the orange butterflies. They both have 4 objects in those groups. They're the same height. So there's an equal number of objects in the yellow duck column and in the orange butterfly column. There are 4 yellow ducks and 4 orange butterflies. How many blue stars are there? Yeah, there are 2. We could keep comparing all of our objects in our graph, or we could clear off our objects and try it again with another toy, another found material, or another snack. All right, Rockets, we graphed 3 different types of items. We graphed natural items, our snack, and some toys. You could also easily do this activity with some collections like buttons or bottle caps. And you could also do many variations of this activity. You could use names to fill in your graph, from your family members if you're trying to find out what everyone's favorite color is. You might want to find out how many times per day you wash your hands. You can use graphs for that too. All right, I hope you had fun graphing with me. If you do any graphing, feel free to send me a picture or a video. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.